Hey everybody, what's happening? Sonofasilverstacker here. In today's numismatic news and information for the 12th day of December 2022, I'd like to welcome you over to APMEX where we can check out those live spot prices. But before that, I'm going to do two things first. I'm going to welcome you over to Good Morning to You with Tiny Numismatics. That's number 297. It starts this morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern, 6:30 a.m. on the West Coast. That's number 297. Tell a friend. Now, I want to give a huge shout out and a big thank you to all of our channel members. Really appreciate all y'all. Now, here we are at the live spot prices. Looks like everything is pretty much flat, and I believe there's a reason for that flatness. Now, it says here gold's down $7.20 to 1801.60. Silver is up a penny to $23.80. Platinum down $5.10 to $10.41.10. Palladium down $12.80 to $19.91 even Steven. Now, let's get over here to Market Watch. And it says here this week's major U.S. economic reports and Fed speakers. So Monday, we have the inflation expectations, and then tomorrow we got the consumer price index, 8:30, and then bam, there we go. On Wednesday, December 14, 2 p.m., federal funds rate announcement, and then 2:30, Fed Chair Jerome Powell news conference. So there it is, folks. That could be, I think, spell really good things or really bad things for the precious metal market, and maybe even the markets in general, yeah? Now, let's head over to CoinWeek. There was an article written by CoinWeek dated December 1st, 2022. And the name of that article is Director Ventris Gibson Answers Media Questions About U.S. Mint Roundtable. And there she is right there. And she seems super accessible. So I'm going to try and reach out to Mint spokesperson Michael White or whoever else. Maybe we can have Miss Ventris Gibson on the show. That would be really amazing. So it says here, this thing was done on December 1st, but this article was, well, it took place on August 9th. It says here, August 9, 2022, Ventris C. Gibson, Director of the United States Mint, invited members of the numismatic media to a press roundtable at the ANA World's Fair of Money. That's in Chicago. CoinWeek editors Charles Morgan attended alongside Larry Jewett of CoinWorld and Dr. Ursula Kemman of Munsivoka and Amanda Miller, ANA. What follows is a transcript of that conversation. Now we're going to go to Charles Morgan. Morgan's question. I made it enter. It's a long article, and I will leave a link in the description for this particular article. So Charles says, and he's addressing Miss Ventris Gibson. He says, if you wouldn't mind, do you have any opinion on whether or not the 1 cent U.S. coin should be phased out? Or perhaps maybe like Canada, a $2 coin. Okay, here we go. Miss Ventris Gibson replies, well, everybody talks about the Lincoln cent or the penny as we affectionately know it as. Right now, there is, and this is in bold, folks, so I guess this is important. Right now, there's no discussion about what happens to the penny. There's no interest congressionally. However, we had heard that, well, I'm going to find that in a second here. There's no interest congressionally about it at this time. As to me and as to the Department of the Treasury, the penny is our currency. You would be amazed that penny actually fills the gap when other coins are not available. And when you think about circulating coins and the value of coinage, especially for the Lincoln cent, it is so important to recognize that those who are underbanked or unbanked we have vending machine communities. We have so many others that utilize coin as a method of survival, and thus, at this time, there's no thought to doing anything other than producing the penny as we have come to know it. There's no appetite for me to introduce legislation to do anything different with any of the elimination of the coins or reduction in it. Now, check this out. Now, obviously, there's no legislation to do anything different with the coinage, but here we go. This is huge. This is Mr. Roberts says, however, and that's her right-hand person, however, we are looking at different metals. And Miss Ventris Gibson says alternative metals. And then Roberts says, yeah, this is like a volleying in a tennis match. Alternative metals that will reduce the cost. Reduce the cost of what? Well, to produce the circulating coinage, right? So that is in the picture. We have a coin studies group inside the Mint that analyzes all of that data. Miss Ventris Gibson goes, that's right. Ursula says, well, hasn't there been an examination of another metal for the penny about 10 years ago, something like this, or, and then question mark. And I don't blame Miss Ursula, Dr. Kemman, for her question. I don't know that she would have remembered, but I did. About 2 years ago now, the United States Mint had an article, and I'll pop to it real quick. This is by Paul Gilks, CoinWorld, published January 15, 2021. It says here, Mint ready to implement alloy coins. I can't even speak. So geeked up. Mint ready to implement alloy change for coins pending approval. There it is. So if she would have followed up with that question, I think that she probably would have got a better answer, because ask better questions, you get better answers. Now it says here, it could have been, I don't recall 10 years exactly. I know what we're doing now relevant to alternative coins. So here we go. The legislation is pending before Congress. There you go. Yep, pending approval. So it looks like even Here we are 2 years later. Well, actually, that's probably a year and a half since it's in August. So a year and a half later, they're still waiting for that pending legislation before Congress to be approved. Okay, so here's the thing. All right. So at the end of this year, there's going to be a report for 2022, and it's going to give the cost of each of the denominations to produce each one of those, right? And probably the seigniorage that it makes. Well, let's face it, we know from this particular website. I got to show you this website. Well, you know what? Let me just finish this because there's so much wonderful stuff going on. I don't even know where to go first. Now, here we go. Robert says, I guess anytime you're in a manufacturing environment, you're looking at cost, structure, and raw materials that contribute to that. So it's not something that you look at and forget about for the next 10 years. You continuously look at that and see, because the world is changing, technology is changing, there may well be metals that come up that we've never even thought about. That's right. Ms. Ventris Gibson says, but the Secretary of the Treasury has a legislative authority to do research and development on alternative metals, and that's what we've been doing within the Mint, looking at that and looking at other mints and whether what they have done is relevant to changes in some of the makeup of the raw materials for circulating coins. They're all in on this, folks. And what are you going to do once you know that they're going to be changing the metal content? Now, it says here, we continue to look at that and what would best be to replace the penny. But with the broader range of the alternative metals, it's not about the penny, but about all of the circulating coins and what we can do different. Did you hear that, folks? It's not just the penny. The difference that we must always be mindful is our coinage lasts for many, many, many years. A penny, 50 years ago, still looks like a penny and feels like a penny. So anything we do, we want to continue that legacy that will last. Isn't that awesome? Now, check this out. Let's go to that Coin World article. I've highlighted some of the particulars that I think we should share here today. It says here, United States Mint, 5th biennial, and there they are. That's what these reports are going to, these are the reports. That's the name of them. The biennial report on technological research found the production cost of the 5-cent piece to be over 7 cents. Absolutely. It says here, one of the potential metallic alternatives for the 5-cent dime and quarter dollar is ready for implementation pending congressional authorization. There it is, folks. They are ready to roll with this, but they are just waiting on Congress. And I think Congress won't make that necessarily move until we get out this year's cost of production for these circulating coins. It says the primary impetus, that's the reason for doing something, right? Impetus for the ongoing research is the production cost for the cent and the 5-cent coin, which each continues to run above the coin's face value. It says here the fiscal year 2020 costs were 1.76 cents for the Lincoln cents, all right? And I'll show you here in the coin calculator, 7.42 cents for the Jefferson 5-cent coin, okay? And 3.73 cents for the Roosevelt dime, and 8.62 cents each for the American Beautiful quarter dollars. Now, the Mint's research has resulted in discovery of a number of potentially seamless alloys, substitutions that require little or no modification to coin-accepting equipment and vending machines, but they do offer only incrementally, like small material savings, and several co-circulating alternatives. What? Co-circulating alternatives that could enter circulation with existing coinage. Folks, if that were to happen, I think you would need what are those things called? An electromagnetic, something that would determine the electromagnetic signature of our coins. Wouldn't that be cool? If, I think I'm going to probably have to get one to start testing coinage. And if you do have one, or you know somebody who has one, are they testing coinage? Wow, this is huge, folks. Now, why potential alternatives could lower the cost for the cent, none is identified that would bring overall costs below face value. And I think that's really what they're looking for. The U.S. Mint conducted more focused research into 5 potential compositions, including one for the cent. One of the remaining 4 is fully ready for implementation pending congressional authority. There you go. So they're ready to roll on this back in January of 2021. They just need Congress to get off their you-know-whats and make this happen. And I think they can as soon as they see this new report coming out saying, look, this is going to be a lot of money. And, if they want to cut costs and if they want to manage inflation, well, I imagine this would be part of that, right? It says here the possible alternatives is referenced as 80-20. The alternative is a seamless variant to the 75% copper, 25% nickel homogeneous alloy used for the 5-cent coin, and as the cladding for the dime, quarter dollar, and the Kennedy half dollar. But the 80-20 uses more copper, less nickel, and adds manganese. And that 80-20 composition is actually 77% copper, 20% nickel, and 3% manganese. And they really should not call it 80-20 because I guess it's a misnomer. Now, let's head over here to the Google machine, and I'll explain to you why. Well, this is what nickel's used for. Nickel is used in batteries, including rechargeable nickel cadmium batteries and nickel metal hybrid batteries used in hybrid vehicles. Folks, do you think nickel might be important, and do you think they might start taking it out of our coinage? Yeah, absolutely. Why wouldn't they? I mean, come on. 20% nickel? Yeah, what's copper used for? Well, copper is a ductile and it's a great conductor. It's made use in electric generators, household car electrical wiring, and the wires in appliances, computers, lights, motors, telephone cables, radios, and TVs. I think anything electric, it sounds like. Yeah, that's incredible. And check this out. This is one little fun fact I wanted to share with you. Now, the word copper, I believe, comes from the word Cyprus, okay? And it says possibly the world's oldest operational mine. That's a copper mine in Cyprus. The island of Cyprus holds some of the richest copper ore deposits per surface area in the whole world. And I think, well, I don't even know what I think, but there's some interesting things going on there between that island right there. Now, coin roll calculator. I'm going to leave a link in all these things that we visited here today. And I wanted to show you if this is what you get, how much value is there when you melt a coin. Okay, so if we have a Jefferson nickel and we melt it, let me update the prices here. Let me update. So 0.67, almost 7 cents, folks, right? If we round up, the one nickel is worth 7 cents. And I imagine that's not just the cost to produce it. That's the cost to just basically the melt value. We're not talking to ship it, to produce it, the electricity and all that stuff that the mint uses to make that happen. And we know prices have gone up extraordinarily high this year, right? So yeah, what would you do knowing all this information? Let me go ahead and hit a zinc and cent, okay? Yeah, a zinc and cent is almost worth, well, is that the melt value? Yeah, almost 1 cent there. Isn't that incredible? Let me show you what the copper cent is worth. And I only have it per one. And I think maybe it makes a greater impact if I do the rolls. So let me go ahead and do a roll calculator for you. That way you can see. So basically a roll of pennies, right? It's 50 cents. So if we got one roll, well, one roll of copper cents is worth $1.27. Yeah. Now, what is a roll of zinc and cents worth? Well, let's go ahead and find out. The copper metal and the zinc cents is worth 42 cents per 50, right? So that's under face value. Let's go to one roll on the, look at that. So a $2 roll is worth $2.69. Incredible. So that one offers up pretty good value right there. And I think I wanted to show you one last thing here at the very bottom. It says U.S. Mint researchers identified a copper-plated steel cent as an alternative to the copper-plated zinc cent. The option would be seamless with the same dimension and weight as the current cent, but at a different electromagnetic signature. Folks, could you imagine a copper-plated steel cent and having to work out that value here? Copper-plated steel cent. And do you remember the last time we used a steel penny? Yeah, you sure did. Now check this out. This is pretty cool. And I think these eBay sellers are pretty smart, and they're actually probably visionaries in my book. Here we are. Now, if we do see the when we do see, or before we see the circulating coins change metal composition or have co-circulating metal composition coins, okay? Well, I believe these folks are awesome because they have put together for us, and it's only the Denver folks. I don't know why, but there's no Philadelphia's, okay? I don't understand it, but I think this is a great option for any person who collects coins to pick up a roll of quarters, a roll of dimes, a roll of nickels, and a roll of pennies from both Denver and Philadelphia mints for 2022. Now, if you can afford a box, if I can afford a box, I probably would buy one, but look at this. So $10, what's that? Let me see the face on these. So yeah, you've got some interesting money there. There's $2.50. Was that $10? That was that $5 in dimes. 15, $17.50 for $29.95 with $8 shipping. Yeah, you can probably do better. But it's interesting how these folks have done this. But there's no Philadelphia's. And I would think that 2023 would also be a very good year to pick some of these up as well. Isn't that something? Now let's go to the plus ones. I'm running out of time quickly. Now, what did one Christmas tree say to another? Lighten up. Yeah, now here we go. If I had not confessed the sin in my heart, the Lord would not have listened. But God did listen. He paid attention to my prayers. Now let's head over here to 395 99.9 KON Coin News Radio. This is Smash Mouth, Walking on the Sun. So there it is, folks. I want to thank you all for watching. Thanks for dropping by. Don't forget to hit that like button. And if you do like what you're hearing, please subscribe to the channel. It's free. Whew, son of a silver stacker. Hope to get those circulating coins, folks, before they get changed out. Out.